Welcome back, my friends, to PMP Exam Mindset Process Domain Task 5 Plan and Manage Budget and Resources. This is a significant part to talk about because without our resources and without our budgets, how do we get our project done? You see, this part of the PMP Exam Immersion book focuses on the critical aspects of planning and managing the project's budget and resources. It discusses the importance of accurate estimation techniques, cost control measures, and resource allocation. Strategies in resource allocation, that is, to ensure project viability and financial health. In agile projects, budget and resource management involve adaptive planning with a focus on value driven delivery. Agile promotes the efficient use of resources through iterative development and prioritization based on value. Let's jump into our true or false questions. Number one, true or false? Agile projects require a fixed budget that cannot be adjusted once set. Well, this is the world of agile. It would be very unagile to let that happen, so this is false. While a project may have an overall budget, agile projects typically use adaptive planning. Budgets are managed iteratively, often with fixed time, fixed cost sprints where scope is flexible. This allows for adjustment based on value delivered and changing priorities. Number two, resource allocation in agile is rigid and follows a strict plan. And the answer is false. It's not true. Resource allocation in Agile is flexible and adaptive. Teams are often cross functional and self organizing, allowing them to dynamically allocate resources to the high priority tasks with a sprint. This contrasts with rigid pre assigned resource plans. Number three, Agile promotes the use of resources based on the highest business value activities. True or false? Well, this one is true, my friends. A core principle of Agile is to prioritize and deliver the highest business value first. This directly influences resource allocation, ensuring that the most critical features or tasks receive the necessary resources to maximize early return on investment. Number four, true or false? Iterative development in Agile allows for more flexible and responsive budget management. And the answer is, again, true. Iterative development allows for flexible budget management by delivering in small increments and continuously reassessing. Organizations can make informed decisions about continuing investment, pivoting, or stopping a project, leading to more responsive financial control. Final question, true or false? In agile budget, overruns are less likely due to the incremental delivery model. So when you think about it, on agile projects, we are reducing risk of putting a big bulk of money up front because we're not spending the money or committing to the money in bulk. We're not doing a bunch of work and then paying for a ton of work. We're just doing it in increments. So the likelihood of you going off the rails is very much reduced from an agile perspective. The incremental delivery model of agile can help by reducing the risk of large budget overruns. By working in short, fixed time sprints with flexible scope, teams can provide early visibility into progress and costs, allowing for course correction before significant overspending occurs. So, my friends, now that we've talked about this, think about what exactly we are doing today. Let's backtrack for a quick second. We're talking about two areas here: budget and resources, spend and people, equipment, materials, supplies. So, to really get this down, I want to introduce the idea of rehashing these areas of knowledge. I know you already know them, but let's begin thinking more critically about them. So, I first want to hit stakeholder, right? Because stakeholders are important. Stakeholders includes the customer, the team, anyone who remotely has interest in this thing is a stakeholder. Now, some parts of those stakeholders will be included in what we call resources, human resources. So, in this area of resources, when we're planning resource management, we're planning humans, equipment, material, supplies, facilities. How do we acquire them? How are we going to train the team? How are we going to estimate the resources to begin with? How are we going to give them feedback? How are we going to manage the team? How are we going to check to ensure resources were spent the right way, were used the right way? So, this is what we do in resource management. We plan resource management, which is how are we going to go about this area, right? Then we estimate activity resources. How many, how much? Human, equipment, material, supplies, facilities. Then we acquire the human resources. We develop them through training, coaching, and mentoring. We manage the team by giving the team feedback as far as how we see them performing. And lastly, we have this one that is not for the humans. This is really more about the material resources, the physical resources. And this is control resources, right? And we're ensuring that resources were provided at the right time, they were used in the right way, such and such. The second area that we talk about here is cost management. So we plan how to manage costs, we estimate the costs, we determine the budget when we roll everything up, and the last one here is control costs. Right? You want to ensure that the budget that you planned will be met. You're not over budget, you're watching the budget like a hawk. And if any steps need to be taken to bring either your resources or your costs back on track, this is what you do in this task. So it sounds very nebulous, but yeah, you got to narrow it down and ask, okay, what is the bottom line? What are we really talking about? So, with that said, let's go to our question for today. Let's read it. Midway through delivery, cost is trending above plan and the schedule is slipping. The budget cannot be increased. Leadership expects a recovery plan that protects essential scope. What is the most effective next step? Is it A, meet with the sponsor to request added funds and time so the baselines can be reset without further trade offs? Is it B, analyze drivers of variance, apply lessons learned to re-estimate remaining work, re-optimize resources, and adjust through governance with existing limits? Or is it C, cut costs quickly by reducing quality checks and deferring lower priority deliverables to stay inside the current budget? Or is it D, replace selected staff with higher cost experts to speed progress and accept a short term rise in spending to regain momentum? I'll give you a few moments to think about the answer. All right, let's examine the answers. So, cost has gone to the dogs. In other words, you are over budget. Schedule is slipping. It looks like you're about to be behind schedule. You cannot increase the budget, right? What should you do, especially when leadership expects you to protect essential scope? Well, A, meet with the project sponsor to request added funds doesn't make sense because it said the budget cannot be increased. So that gets rid of A. B, analyze drivers of the variance and apply lessons learned reestimate the remaining work, reprioritize the resources, and adjust through governance within existing limits. Makes sense, within existing limits. Now, C, cut costs quickly. And it's saying reduce quality. What? Reduce quality checks? That is an immediate no. Because you don't reduce quality as a good project manager. Whether you're trying to stay in budget or not, that's non negotiable because your end product could become inherently useless if you reduce quality checks. D says replace selected staff with higher cost experts. How does that make sense? You can't even do that because you need more money. It said the budget cannot be increased. So even if you have access to higher cost experts, which you need to train and develop, and they'll need to synergize, which takes time. And apart from taking time, sometimes it doesn't always work out as great, especially when you're rushing things under pressure, right? So it doesn't make sense from several angles. You don't have more money, it's already said that. And it says accept a short term rise in spending. You can't do that to regain momentum. So when you look in between the lines of some of these options, you just know that doesn't make sense. It's not possible. So at this point, my friends, the best answer is B. Plan and manage with constraints. Diagnose variances, re-estimate using scope and history, optimize allocation, and adjust via governance rather than cutting quality or assuming new funds. With that said, my friends, we are taking a look at the content outline now for the final stretch in this episode. Task 5 simply says plan and manage budget and resources. I would like to break it down like this: plan and manage how you spend, plan and manage cost. And then I'll also like to look at this as plan and manage resources. So I would say, to really get me in that zone, that this is two things: plan and manage cost, plan and manage resources. See? Plan and manage how you budget, plan and manage how you plan for resources, how resources are applied, everything else around these areas. So, first, estimate your budgetary needs based on the scope of the project and lessons learned. You'll be able to deduce how much do we need to spend on human equipment, material supplies, facilities. Then you anticipate any future challenges. You, of course, need to plan and work that into your plan. If this happens, this is what we'll do. If that happens, this is what we'll do. Monitor budget variations and work with governance process to adjust as necessary. So, in other words, you're saying make sure you're keeping an eye on the budget, watching it like a hawk, and if any changes need to happen, then make sure you're making those changes as necessary. And lastly, plan and manage resources. So I don't know if you notice, 1, 2, and 3 were all cost and budget driven pretty much. The last bullet just casually says plan and manage resources. Well, that's the same thing that we have up here, which is not as much good, which is why I said when you're taking a look at this thing, keep a close eye on resource management and keep a close eye on cost. These areas are really important. Now, going a step further for your exam, even though I am not grilling you on this today, you really need to know your SPI, your CPI, your CV, and your SV. Schedule performance index and schedule variance all begin with earned value. They both have planned value in it. but one is a variance and you subtract. One is an index and you divide. The same for cost performance index. Starts with earned value, you divide by actual cost. Cost variance is the same variables, earned value and actual cost, with a minus. So if someone says you're a project manager in a project, earned value is 500, actual cost is 400, and planned value is 600. You should be able to look at this and say there's a variance between earned value and actual cost. Earned value is more than the actual cost. That's favorable. Anytime your earned value is equal to the actual cost or greater than the actual cost, you're on favorable ground, right? Because when you think about it, you don't want any variances of a negative nature between your accomplishment and what you paid for that accomplishment. You get what I'm saying? This is saying we got $500 worth of work done, but we only paid $400 for it. That's good. Now, on the flip side, when you look at the planned value as 600, this means you planned to get 600 done, but you only got 500 done. Even though you paid less, it's not good. So this shows in terms of budget, you are under budget. But in terms of schedule, when you combine EV and PV in contrast, you are behind schedule. You get what I'm saying? So budget wise, you're in good standing. You're under budget, but in terms of schedule, you're behind schedule. This is a very simplistic way of looking at earned value. And I like making it simple because it is a rather difficult topic for many. Okay? And if you want to know more about earned value, I suggest looking at the Praizion channel because I have many, many more videos about earned value that you can learn tons from. But earned value is a critical topic in cost management. Okay, well, that's all for today, my friends. Thank you very much. I wish you all the very best as you continue prepping for your exam. You take care, and bye for now.